What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the MMR Thummim and the MMR Homunculus IEMs. Full disclosure, these units are on loan to me from audiotears.com and Bara. I will link them in the description. They are a great resource to check out if you want to get your hands on maybe some of the more expensive stuff for demo, as I know that this stuff can be pretty difficult to get access to in the US. The overall cadence of this review is going to be overwhelmingly negative. So if that is something that you think you will not take kindly to, will trigger you, I strongly encourage you to just skip on this review altogether, as it's not going to be the most positive review, to say the least. Okay, so for reference, the Thummim retails for 4,500 USD and the Homunculus for 1,700 USD. With prices like those, I think it's pretty fair to say that my expectations are just as high. Starting with the packaging, at the very least, I do think it's pretty creative, especially for the Thummim. It comes in this sort of like scroll thing, which is pretty cool in my opinion. And if we pop this open here, you can see that there is another scroll inside, and it is made out of leather. And I'm pretty sure this is real leather actually as well, not just like genuine leather, as it does have that really nice smell to it. There's some sort of like jewelry slots for the Thummim itself, and then this little thing here holds the tips and the cable it comes with. So yeah, pretty interesting. I do like the presentation here, and I think it is the very least befitting of a flagship IEM. I do find the Homunculus's packaging a little bit, I guess, more underwhelming, I guess you could say. It comes with this sort of, I honestly haven't really played with any of this stuff since I got the IEMs. I just popped out the IEMs and the cables and got to listening. But I think it's safe to say that you'll be getting your money's worth when it comes to the overall presentation and the packaging, for the most part at least. Oh man, where to start though? Let's talk about the build. Both of these IEMs are constructed of titanium with some, let's just say, very interesting ergonomics. The Thummim in particular, you can see that it has a series of sort of like ridges throughout the shell, which kind of make it look like honestly, it looks to me like a Tesla super truck, I'm not gonna lie. I guess that's cool if you're into that sort of aesthetic. Unfortunately, as you might guess, it does get quite a bit uncomfortable when it's actually in your ear, because, you know, the shells are kind of poking you. Ironically enough, between the two, the Homunculus is actually the more uncomfortable one for me to wear. You can see that the nozzle here of the IEM sort of juts out at this weird angle, and because of that, it really puts up a lot of pressure against the, I guess sort of the, I don't even know what spot of my ear it is, honestly, but either way, this one is ironically the more difficult one for me to wear. Have we also talked about the name? Yeah, you can go look up what Homunculus refers to if you don't already know on Google. Okay, so clearly the ergonomics are a bust. What about the actual sound is what you're probably wondering. And so that I'm not wasting your time, I will be blunt. These are front runners for some of the worst IEMs that I have heard. And before the pitchforks come out, saying I didn't do this or that properly while listening, let's quickly review my chain. I am using the stock Elitech cables, the stock tips, as well as an A&K SP1000M with lossless FLAC files. Maybe it's just me, but I think it's pretty reasonable to expect these IEMs to perform adequately off of a $2,000 DAP and using the very expensive stock cables. Anyways, I'm not going to even bother to cover them separately just because the bar is that low. I will throw up the frequency responses on screen for you guys to have a look as well. For posterity, I measured both IEMs several times off of my coupler to make sure I was getting consistent results. And not that it particularly matters because both measurements line up with what I hear subjectively as well. The first thing to note on screen is that both IEMs, especially the Homunculus, have a noticeable channel imbalance. I think the Homunculus one has like a 6 dB channel imbalance in the upper mid-range. And if you don't know how to read graphs, what this basically means is that one side of the IEM basically is not consistent with how the other side sounds. This is well outside the realm of manufacturer tolerances, especially the Homunculus. It really shouldn't be acceptable on a $100 IEM, much less one that costs several $1,000s. In terms of the actual listening experience, both the Thummim and the Homunculus exhibit a sort of similar upper mid-range suck out. And in particular, you can see that the Homunculus has a very fat dip from 3 to 5K hertz. What this basically means is that vocals, especially stuff in the upper mid-range, sound very distant and hazy. It's like you're underwater in a pool and someone is trying to talk to you from above. That is really the best way I can put it. Now, what this might do is lend itself to the perception of soundstage, especially on the Thummim. I think I've read some comments about that. Unfortunately, it's faked at best, and it sounds downright messy at worst. Neither of these IEMs are very good with positional cues, like articulating where instruments are coming from on the stage, and both really struggle with anything more than surface level detail. The most interesting thing about the Thummim to me though is just how damn slow the thing is. Transient speed is sort of the vigor with which notes are articulated, and how quickly they decay. And the Thummim is easily a front runner for one of the slowest IEMs I have heard. It literally sounds like it was designed to put the listener to sleep, and all the more so when you consider that not just the Thummim, but both of these have next to zero treble, and the bass is really bloated on the Thummim. Anyways, as usual, I have to disclaim that if you think the Thummim or the Homunculus sound like the best thing in the world to you, absolutely do not let me tell you otherwise. My aim isn't to put anyone down or make anyone feel bad, but more so to inform. And objectively speaking, at least in the most objective sense possible when it comes to audio, these are some of the worst IEMs that I have heard. If you have this much money to drop on an IEM, go buy something like the Empire Ears Odin or the Vision Ears Orkonig. As overpriced as I think these IEMs are, they are at the very least very good sounding IEMs. Anyways, if you guys found this video review informative, entertaining, whatever, be sure to smash that like button and to subscribe for future content. It really does help the channel. And yeah, I think I'm going to leave it on that note. Peace out until next time.